I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean. These were the words I heard after a long haul flight from Melbourne to LA. They were not the words I wanted to hear. They were not the words I needed to hear. It was 2007 and I needed a coffee. I was at the time a coffee snob. You see, I grew up in a tourist town, a little place about 100 k's out of Melbourne. The place was, and still is, littered with cafes. Growing up, many of my friends worked at these cafes, and many of them became incredibly good baristas. And they simply refused to serve a bad coffee. They wouldn't even serve a mediocre coffee. If it wasn't good or great, it wasn't going out. So I'd been spoiled for more than a decade. And then I moved to Melbourne, and the coffee snobbery continued. The queue was long. Not outrageously long, but long enough for me to decide to keep my order simple. No double shots, no whipped cream, no flavours, just the simplest coffee I could get. After what seemed like an eternity, I was at the front of the queue. What happened next has been seared into my long-term memory. I think about it sometimes when I can't sleep. The cashier asked me, with a giant and beautiful smile, "What would you like?" I responded in a clear voice, "A flat white with two, please." The cashier's smile quickly turned to a grimace. They looked confused and slightly worried. I thought they hadn't heard me properly. The place was busy and pretty noisy. I repeated my order, making sure I could be heard. "A flat white with two, please." The cashier responded with these words, which at the time were soul-crushing. "I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean." I froze. My mind went completely blank. It felt like some kind of joke. It wasn't. From somewhere behind me, I heard someone saying something in an Australian accent. I turned my head to see. A kind face looked back at me. They smiled and said, "Your first time here, isn't it?" "Yes," I said. "Mate, you can't get a flat white here. They have no idea what it is. Your best bet is to get a latte." I thought to myself, I hate lattes. I also thought to myself, I need coffee. My coffee snobbery ended in that moment. I said thank you to the kind Australian stranger and turned back to the cashier. "A latte with two, please." "Sure, no problem. Your name?" I gave the cashier my name, paid for the coffee, and waited for my name to be called. I got to talking with a friendly stranger. Turns out they were from Melbourne and visited my hometown frequently. Asked them their favourite cafe. Of course, it was one of the ones that had spoiled me in my youth. My name was called. I grabbed my latte. Truth be told, it was a pretty good coffee.